From our Chicago studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I am Samana Siddiqui. Our top story tonight. Special Counsel Jack Smith has filed motions to drop all federal charges against President-elect Donald Trump, citing presidential immunity laws. However, he says the dismissal does not diminish the gravity of the allegations, but aligns with constitutional protections. Trump was indicted last year for mishandling classified documents and alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. He was facing 41 felony counts. Federal agents had raided his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida, where the FBI confiscated more than 11,000 sensitive government documents and photographs. The case is stalled amid legal debates over prosecuting a former president. Now, as Trump prepares for his second term in January, the Justice Department says that a sitting president cannot face charges. Trump, who has consistently claimed political persecution, called this a victory for the rule of law. His spokesman hailed it as an end to what he described as political weaponization. Smith's decision comes amid speculation of his resignation before Trump's inauguration. The move has sparked renewed debate on balancing presidential immunity with accountability. The White House has confirmed that President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden will attend President-elect Donald Trump's January 20th inauguration. Spokesperson Andy Bates said Biden views it as an important demonstration of commitment to democratic values and to honoring the will of the people. Trump chose to skip Biden's 2021 inauguration, maintaining baseless claims that the election was stolen from him. Trump also neglected to invite Biden to the White House after he lost the election. Biden restored that tradition earlier this month when he hosted Trump for a White House sit-down as he and senior administration officials vowed to ensure a smooth transition of power. A federal judge has allowed a class action lawsuit against Target Corporation to proceed. The 4 Illinois residents who filed it have accused the retail giant of unlawfully collecting and storing customers' biometric data without their knowledge. The lawsuit alleges that Target used facial recognition technology in surveillance cameras to monitor potential shoplifting activities. It claims that this breaches the Illinois Biometric Information Privacy Act by not obtaining explicit consent or providing necessary disclosures. Despite Target's argument dismissing the claims as speculative, the court ruled the plaintiffs had outlined plausible allegations to warrant further proceedings. Observers say the case echoes a broader national concern over privacy as similar legal actions emerge across the country. It also highlights the contentious use of biometric data in retail. Target must address the complaint by December 13th. A similar lawsuit was filed against Amazon in September last year. It alleged that Amazon collected and shared biometric data through its hardware without notice or consent. The court similarly denied Amazon's motion to dismiss on November 6th, with pre-trial proceedings set to begin in January. President-elect Donald Trump has endorsed Florida State Senator Randy Fine for a potential congressional bid, despite Fine's history of anti-Muslim rhetoric. Fine, known for his provocative comments, recently praised the Israeli military's fatal shooting of Aisha Ezgi Egi, an American activist in the West Bank who was taking part in a peaceful protest when she was shot. On a social media post in September, Fine wrote of her killing, "Throw rocks, get shot, one less Muslim terrorist fire away." Both the Israeli government and the Biden administration have called Egi's death an accident. Observers say Trump's endorsement of Fine amid his vocal anti-Muslim and pro-Israel stances signals a stronger alignment with far-right elements. MIT is facing serious backlash as allegations of First Amendment violations emerge. These are centered around punitive actions against students and faculty supporting Palestinian causes. A petition by the MIT Coalition for Palestine, which has more than 2,000 signatures and 90 organizations represented, condemns the university for stifling advocacy and education regarding Palestine. Key figures include student Prahlad Iyengar and Professor Michel de Graaf. Iyengar, with the student-run Zion Written Revolution, faces potential expulsion following the banning of his publication for purportedly inciting violence, a charge he vehemently denies. Written Revolution is a bi-monthly publication that was started in February advocating for Palestinian rights. De Graaf is a long-serving linguistics professor who has been prohibited from teaching a new course on decolonization. The academic community fears these measures not only infringe on individual rights, but also set a chilling precedent for free speech on campus. Israeli forces continue their campaigns of war and violence across Gaza, Lebanon, and Syria, resulting in significant civilian casualties and infrastructure damage. Overnight, 12 Palestinians were reportedly killed in Gaza City, including women and children, in an airstrike on a residential building in the At-Tufah neighborhood. Heavy rainfall and rising tides have worsened the plight of war-displaced people sheltering in makeshift tents. Wafa news agency reports that Israeli warplanes bombed a home in northern Gaza's Jabalia, killing and injuring people. Israeli newspaper Yediot Ahronot says more than 8,000 homes have been destroyed in northern Israel in Hezbollah attacks. About 7,000 cars and 300 agricultural sites were also damaged in the region, according to the newspaper. Meanwhile, Israel's overnight bombings in Lebanon killed at least 31 people. Israel's war has also reached Syrian territories. 2 civilians were reportedly killed in airstrikes aimed at disrupting Hezbollah's arms supply routes. Free Palestine protest held outside White House. Details after the break, so stay tuned and we'll be right back. A group of Free Palestine activists protested ongoing Israeli attacks on Gaza outside the White House in Washington on Monday. The demonstrators held signs condemning Israeli military attacks on mothers, children, and women in Gaza. Israel's genocide has killed over 44,235 Palestinians and wounded 104,638 since October 7, 2023. In Lebanon, at least 3,768 people have been killed and 15,699 wounded in Israeli attacks since the war on Gaza began. The International Criminal Court last week issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant for war crimes and crimes against humanity in Gaza. Israel also faces a genocide case at the International Court of Justice over its brutal war on Gaza. Prominent figures and institutions have labeled the attacks and blocking of aid deliveries as a deliberate attempt to destroy the Gazan population. 4 Muslims died in India amid clashes sparked by a court-ordered survey of the historic Shahi Jama Masjid to verify Hindu claims that it stood on a former temple site. The survey has led to vehement opposition from local residents in the Muslim-dominated city of Sambal in Uttar Pradesh province. Indian opposition leaders, including Asaduddin Owaisi and Rahul Gandhi, fiercely criticized the action, with Owaisi accusing the authorities of murder. Owaisi, who represents the southern Hyderabad seat in parliament, said the mosque in question is over 200 years old, and the court passed an order regarding it without hearing from its caretakers. Gandhi called for Supreme Court intervention to address what he called biased state responses. The turmoil highlights ongoing tensions over the heritage of mosques from India's Mughal era between the 1500s and 1700s, which right-wing factions claim were built over Hindu temples. Another mosque in the city of Panipat is in ruins, while yet another at Ayodhya, which is also in Uttar Pradesh, was demolished by a Hindu mob in 1992. The UAE has condemned the killing of Rabbi Zvi Hogan, who had been missing since last Thursday. UAE Ambassador to the U.S. Yusuf Al-Otaiba decried the murder as an assault on the nation. He reaffirmed the UAE's commitment to diversity, peace, and the rejection of extremism. Israeli authorities, identifying the killing as a despicable anti-Semitic terrorist act, promised to use all means to bring those responsible to justice. Hogan had been a key figure in fostering Jewish community ties in the UAE since its 2020 normalization of relations with Israel. The United States will mark Thanksgiving this week on the 4th Thursday of November, a tradition dating back to 1941, though its origins are much deeper. Long before Thanksgiving became a federal holiday, the tradition was rooted in Native American harvest festivals and colonial gratitude ceremonies. The notable 1621 feast in Plymouth, Massachusetts, with the Pilgrims and the Wampanoag tribe, is often hailed as the first Thanksgiving. However, more recently, the day is marked as a national day of mourning. This is to commemorate the unprecedented mass killing of Native American people, the seizing of their lands, and the enslavement of their people by European settlers like the Pilgrims. The formal recognition of Thanksgiving as a national celebration in the U.S. was solidified by President Abraham Lincoln in 1863 during the Civil War. Lincoln designated it as a day to express gratitude and unity. Today, Thanksgiving has become synonymous with family gatherings and feasting on turkey dinners. The day is often marked by volunteering, community service, and for some, the start of the holiday shopping season. President-elect Donald Trump has announced sweeping tariffs on imports from Mexico, Canada, and China, citing border security and drug trafficking. On day one of his term, Trump plans to impose a 25% tariff on goods from Mexico and Canada, as well as a 10% additional tariff on Chinese products. These aim to pressure these nations into addressing the influx of undocumented migrants and the smuggling of drugs like fentanyl into the U.S. The announcement has stirred significant backlash, affecting international markets and drawing criticism for potentially jeopardizing the U.S. and Mexico-Canada agreement. Critics argue these tariffs could inflate U.S. consumer prices and stifle global economic growth. China has responded by emphasizing the mutual benefits of trade, dismissing the effectiveness of a trade war. The Canadian Broadcasting Corporation called Trump's remarks his most severe threat against Canada in years. That's all from our Chicago studios tonight. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. Donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Salam.